Feeling like a fatal heart attack. I'd die for that. I don't stress about it. I think less without it.
It's Week 10 of the National Football League, and we'll see DeAndre Swift. He's the NFL's ultimate red zone back and your leader in rushing touchdowns. It's the Eagles and the Broncos, and it comes your way next on EA Sports.
EA Sports coverage of the NFL has us at the foot of the Rockies, just west of downtown Denver at Empower Field at Mile High. Today we hit double digits, Week 10, and we've got a good one in store, as it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Denver Broncos. And hello again, everyone. Brandon Gaudin alongside Charles Davis. And, Charles, we look at this Bronco team, and they've lost 3 straight here, and it goes without saying, I guess, they could certainly use a win.
And how do they get a win? Because they've lost 3 straight, I think it's paramount that they get a fast, clean start to this game.
Meanwhile, for our visitors, the Eagles, they're halfway home, looking good at a perfect 8-0.
And not much to complain about so far, is there? I'd have to say they're the best team in the NFL through the first half of the year.
The shadow's starting to get a bit longer. Week 10 of the NFL season is here, and we're underway on EA Sports. And no run back on the opening kickoff. It'll come out 2-25. So here are the Broncos now for their opening drive. And they will be led out by a guy certainly still trying to prove himself here in the league, the young rookie quarterback.
Would you say that last week's performance by him, workmanlike in terms of numbers?
1 touchdown, 1 pick, but obviously a loss.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line for him. All he cares about is how do we find a way to win the game. Maybe he leans on a few other parts of the offense and hopefully springs a receiver or 2 free.
Pressure comes, and down he goes. The Eagles get there for the sack. The safety blitz turns out to be a great call defensively as they sack him for a loss of 9. So a tough early challenge here, 2nd and long after the sack. They'll drop to throw. And pressure coming, and they got him once again. Miles Jack working free that time to take him down. Boy, how about this to start a ball game? That's twice in a row now, Charles, that they get to it.
And how often do we talk about offenses that operate off of a script to begin games? Feels like this defense had their script together on this one, and their script said put the quarterback down and do it fast.
Well, they'll get 15, but that won't be nearly enough. It's 4th down. So likely a 3-and-out on their opening drive. That's not a good omen for a team that's lost 3 straight games.
Too many threes that you're mentioning right there. That's a number they've got to get off of. And the big risk you're running right now is discouragement amongst the ranks. How do you keep them up? How do you keep them motivated? They've got to dial up something to give themselves some confidence.
Call that 49 yards on the punt. They do get 7 back on the return. And it will be Eagles football, 1st and 10. So out comes this offense to take over for the first time. They'll be led out by a Heisman runner-up during his college days. It's the versatile Jalen Hurts.
And he's certainly putting together an MVP-type season, leading the league in both passing yards and touchdown passes. There have not been too many defenses have been able to stop him or even slow him down. So he's got his sight set on it.
And that's caught inside the 35. Touchdown, Philadelphia. A great play there. His 9th touchdown of the season. And the Eagles will jump on top with the game's first score here this afternoon. Both sides of the football in sync early. You force the 3-and-out, and then you take it down, score points.
You know what that tells me? They sold their game plan really well. Head coach said, listen, we're just going to stop them on 3-and-out. We're going to take the ball downfield and score. But he also told them how it was going to happen. They're going to run this. We're going to stop it. Then we're going to take the ball. They won't be able to keep up with us. And they got it done.
Elliott good with a PAT. And that makes the score 7-0. Now after the touchdown, here's Elliott on to kick it away. And he'll just sit on this one as their drive will start at the 25. So now the second drive offensively coming up for the Denver Broncos. 1-7 their record here at the midway point of the season, and right now this organization, more than likely if you look at it, CD, probably in for a rough second half of the season.
Well, we've seen teams turn things around in other places. I mean, we've seen 1-7 first halves turn into 5-3 second halves, but for this squad, I think these guys aren't playing to get into the playoffs. They're playing for their jobs. So's the coaching staff. They're coaching for theirs. Front office trying to keep theirs. The heat is on from all directions. And what's interesting is a lot of these guys are playing for jobs and trying to keep their positions. It might be just in the league in some other spot.
Here we go. Well, they're in some hot water now. After that sack, it's 2nd and 21. He'll look to throw. And this is going to be incomplete.
And this drive is almost over before it began thanks to a great defensive effort. Sack on first down, followed by an incompletion. One more good rep, and they get off the field.
And he's going to go down. Back at his own 5-yard line, it's a sack. Nolan Smith has now recorded 10 sacks on the season. So a first-quarter sack, and remember, keep in mind, he had 2 sacks in last week's game.
And it's always intriguing to me to watch these great pass rushers because some of them, they need their teammates to scheme for them. Maybe occupy people and make it a one-on-one matchup. Other guys, they just defeat everything in front of them. To get 2 sacks in a game, it's a little bit of both for you.
Nice punt, but good work on the return to get back 11 yards. Here's Swift. And he'll work down inside the 45. We take a look at his numbers on the ground last week. North of 100 yards, the 2 scores. And, you got to give a lot of credit to the O-line. We talked a lot about him, but offensive line was good, too.
They're obviously in sync with each other, whether it's zone blocking, power running game, no matter what. He understands how to read them and find the creases that they provide.
2nd and 6. Throwing from the gun, it's Hurts. And that's going to be caught downfield by Brown. And they're going to be set up down around the 15-yard line. That one covers 29 yards, first down.
So many times in my career I've heard coaches talk about completions are one thing, but as long as we're there at the catch and we get guys on the ground, we can live with that. But if you're going to give up 10, 12, 15 yards after the catch, then your defense is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Line of scrimmage, the 15. It's 1st and 10. From the gun, it's Hurts. And this is going to be intercepted. Picked off by Justin Simmons. And the Broncos are going to take possession here. It's a touchback, and they'll take over at the 20-yard line.
And as we've seen, points have been precious so far, and they just threw some away on that snap. And look, let's face it, as we advance further into this game, that play will be on the minds of everyone who's watching it. They wonder if this is the turning point. Is this the spot where those points were given away and could cost them a ball game?
Now the football going back over to the Denver Broncos. Not only are they in search of their first score, they're in search of their first down in this ball game as they come up 1st and 10. They start the drive on the ground. It's Williams. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12.
Part of their struggles last week was getting these negative plays on 1st and 2nd down. That's something they have to be wary of as this game continues.
Here we go on 2nd and 12. They'll set up the screen here to Mixon. They get 7 there on the screen. It'll set up a 3rd down. After 1, 7-0 on EA Sports. Second quarter about to begin from Denver. It's the Broncos in possession of the football. 3rd and 5 as they've got it as we resume action. He'll drop to throw. Eagle pressure, too much this time. Down he goes. He couldn't get away there on 3rd down. The pressure too much, and he's sacked for a loss of 12. These sacks now, they're starting to pile up, Charles, and that front 7 defensively, they've had their way with this offensive line.
And I think at this stage, we have to start thinking about different play calls. We've got to start helping this quarterback out because The entire game, he's been under siege. I don't care what the down and distance. They've got to get the ball out of his hands a lot quicker.
On is the punter Townsend as he gets this one away. He'll take it at the 42. It's a return of 5 following a punt of 42 yards. And the Eagles will have it, taking over a 1st and 10. So here are the Eagles to take over. They've gone 2 months without a loss, 8 straight wins for them. And they've got the lead here in this one as well, trying to make it 9 in a row. Now here's a pass on 1st down that's knocked away and incomplete. So this game, Charles, you know, we talk about potential unbeaten seasons a lot. It feels like every year at some point in the season we talk about that. But this is one of those games where if you're unbeaten, you got to be careful. You can't take this one too lightly.
You're exactly right about that. And by rights, this should be a cakewalk. Almost a week off. Let the starters run up the score in the first half. Backups get to play. Touchdown, Philadelphia.
A.J. Brown. He has career touchdown number 78, tying him with both Eddie George and Frank Gifford on the all-time list. And the Eagles are able to strike quickly to add on to their lead. As a former DB, you might not like to see that, but from a wide receiver's perspective, those are the plays they dream of.
Correct on both counts, all right? Because once he took off, I mean, let's face it, that should have been done in Big Sky country. Aren't any speed limits out there? And off he went. Glad I wasn't the one trying to chase him.
Elliott good on the extra point, and it's now 14-0. The long touchdown pass gets him 6 on a very, very tidy 2-play drive that time. Now after the touchdown, here's Elliott on to kick it away. And as we see so frequently here in Colorado, that one over the end line, so it'll come out to the 25. Here's the Denver offense now as they get set to take over here. They're still in search of an initial 1st down as they come up here 1st and 10. They begin the drive with Williams. Shoves him aside. That's to about the 28. 2nd down coming up.
If they want to start getting back into this game, it behooves them to get better on 1st down.
Yeah, certainly not what they were looking for there out of the opening play of this drive. Here's the 2nd and 7. And he knocks the ball away, and it falls incomplete.
As we've seen, their first 2 drives didn't yield anything points-wise. Certainly feels like they think to themselves, it's time to open this thing up, taking the big shot downfield.
On 3rd down, he'll drop to throw. Under pressure, and down he goes. Jalen Carter drops him for a loss of 12, and it also brings up 4th down. Well, collectively as a defense, Charles, I think if you get 4 sacks a game, you're feeling really good. Now they have 6 as a unit.
And that type of a number, it's just staggering because there's so many ways to try and counteract it. But in this case, they've got no answers for this unrelenting pressure coming at their quarterback.
Here's Tommy Townsend on to punt. Averaging 50 yards a boot so far as this one's away. Taking it about the 36. So a good punt there, but a very strong 14-yard return. And this offense takes over in great shape right at the 50, 1st and 10. Eagles offense and A.J. Brown headed back out there. He's delivered a solid performance so far here in the 2nd quarter.
Everything has been good for him. And right now, if you're on defense, you don't want it to go to great. So you have to just change up coverages and looks on him all the time. Press coverage sometimes, back off and play some man, show some zone, double team him, make him really work for each and every catch.
He's hit the end zone once. Maybe there's more in the tank.
And in an afternoon where just about everything's gone right, there's an unlikely sight there. He's got a receiver all alone downfield, and he just overshoots him.
He's going deep for Brown. And this is caught inside the 5. Touchdown, Philadelphia. A.J. Brown with touchdown number 2 in the game and now 11 on the year. And the Eagles have moved out in front by 3 touchdowns. Well, I don't think that we're ready yet to say the route is on, but they have certainly looked near flawless here in this first half, and now an extra point away from making it 21-0.
Yeah, and your experience led you to say that, because we have both seen those 21-0 leads come and go in this league. But this one feels pretty darn secure. And here's the other part. Even when people chip away at it, it forces you into being almost perfect on the other side, doesn't it, in order to try and mount a comeback.
Elliott good with a PAT, and it's now 21-0. Now after the touchdown, here's Elliott on to kick it away. And he'll very wisely take a knee here as they'll bring this one out to the 25 on the touchback. Denver's offense now set to go. Well, CD, you kind of feel like they're in a bit of a danger zone right here, because now you're down 3 scores, and I know we're in the first half, but the way this offense hasn't been able to generate anything, you feel like they probably need to get something going on this drive, right?
Yeah, and sometimes I overuse if this is an important possession. But I think this has to be the possession where they come up with an answer, because only a few teams in league history have ever come back from a 4-score deficit. And if they don't score here, that's what they could be facing the next time they get the ball.
And 2nd and 10, he'll look to throw again. Staying on his feet. And hit behind the line. He lost the football. It's loose. Oh, and one of the linemen on the other side has got it. And they're going to set up shop at the 27-yard line.
That feels like an accumulation of the pressure we've seen all game. I mean, he's been on the turf a whole lot because of sacks. Eventually, something else happens as well, and this time it was a turnover.
Yeah, caught up to him. Wide receiver A.J. Brown, you see he and the rest of his mates returning to the field here, making his presence felt early in this one. First half, already over the century mark.
How about the yards per completion, too? That's a pretty darn good number there. Number of catches, but he's shredding defenses, getting big yardage with each and every one of them.
Hurts throw complete here to his receiver Brown. And he's brought down, but not before a gain of 13, down to the 13. 1st and 10 in the red zone. 2 minutes remaining in this first half of football. From the 13 now, they work on 1st and 10. Hurts sets up to throw it. They're unable to connect, but a late flag comes in. And the contact may have come too early. So the contact came before the ball got there, and the flag is thrown.
Timing is everything, isn't it? And it's so hard to cover these great receivers. They have such great body control, and they can fake you out. In this case, as you described, got there before the ball got to the receiver. Penalty flag had to come out.
Wiggles free, and he'll be brought down right on the edge of the goal line at about the 1-yard line. Nice job defensively to hold him to 4, and now it's 2nd and goal.
At the Broncos 1-yard line.
Hurts. And he's got it. They get only a yard there. Now it's 3rd and goal.
That's a good job there by the corner. We do talk about this a lot, that a lot of corners see their job as simply covering receivers. Tackling isn't everyone's thing. But in this case, he came up quickly and made a nice shoot.
Open man, he's got him. That's Smith for the Philadelphia touchdown. Devontae Smith there to make the grab. And the Eagles continue to pull away here in this first half. And he shows some mobility there, getting outside of the tackles, moving to the right, making a nice play.
He had the whole field in front of him and was able to actually throw it about where he was looking, right? He said he moved to the right, had his vision there, and put a nice pass into the end zone for a touchdown.
Elliott good on the extra point, and the route is on here in this first half. Now after the touchdown, here's Elliott on to kick it away. And this will not be returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. And coming out now, the Broncos. And in a spot like this, still more than a minute, I think if you put something on the board before halftime, that would go a long way towards helping them get back into the game.
There actually is something to the psychology of the game at times, isn't there? How much better would they feel running into the locker room, as you noted, with some...
Throw left side is complete on the diving effort. Now the Broncos are going to call the first of their timeouts, as he'll stop it with exactly a minute to go before halftime. Now on first down, he'll drop to throw it. Pressure comes, and down he goes. The Eagles get there for the sack. Sacks a growing theme in this first half. This is second and long. Oh, the pressure too great, and he goes down once more. Now the Broncos going to use the second of their timeouts. So that means they're down to one remaining here as we head toward halftime.
As usual, the hallmark of a good run defense, linebackers making plays near the line of scrimmage. Absolutely nowhere to run there.
Here's Tommy Townsend now, as he's on for the 5th time here today. He's averaging just under 50 yards a punt as he gets this away. This is brought in at the 21. So we've reached halftime here, and it's our visitors, the Eagles, leading this one. As we send you on out to our studios in Orlando, here's Jonathan Coachman at REA Sports Halftime Report.
All right, Brandon, thank you very much. More from you two in a minute, but first, let's take a spin around the NFL and see what's going on here in week number 10. We'll start our tour out in the City of Angels, Los Angeles. And it's the Cowboys on top as they play the second quarter. Dak Prescott lighting it up. He's got 3 touchdown passes. From there, we slide over to the desert to check on the Cardinals at home in Glendale. And they trail the visiting Buccaneers as that game has gone to the half. The Bucs looking to sew that one up, and they look to be in pretty good shape. Lastly, let's check in on our nation's capital to see what's happening with the Washington Commanders at home at FedEx Field. And things didn't go so well as it was the visiting Raiders who come in and grab the victory. Josh Jacobs, well over 100 yards on the ground with a pair of touchdown runs. The highlights from the first half, all one-sided. This one got out of hand early, and now you have to wonder how these teams will approach this second half, because this one's already close to being in the bag, if it's not already. Final adjustments being made for the second half. Whether they'll amount to much in a game that's already pretty well decided, well, that's another question. Nevertheless, let's get you back out to Brandon and Charles.
And he's only going to make it to the 13-yard line and no further. The Eagles ready to go on offense to begin quarter number 3. Well, it's hard to imagine the first half going any better for them, CD, and now here as they begin their first series of the second half. I mean, if they score here, this one, it's pretty much out of reach.
We honestly might already be at that point, partner, because this team, they were dominant in the first half, continue to be...
Oh, this is taken in. It's complete. And he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. Touchdown. A big play there. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns here so far. And the Eagles come right out of the locker room and score here in the opening minute of the third quarter.
I know Paul Revere talked about by land or by sea, right? You know, 1 by land, 2 by sea. He didn't mention air because right now we're seeing a big-time performance, aren't we? That's 2 touchdowns so far in this game.
Where'd you pull that one from?
And, you know, every now and then I actually listened in history class.
And you're just a scholar all the way around. You're reading all the time. I like that you fit that into the broadcast.
You know, I just grab a nugget when I can.
Elliott good with a PAT, and that makes this 35-0 now. Now after the touchdown, here's Elliott on to kick it away. And they will not get a chance to return this one as it's through the end zone for a touchback. So now a look at the Broncos as they head back out there for their first possession of the second half.
Here we go. Here we go. Black swap. Switch. Yellow.
They'll try to get this running game going with Williams. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up.
This defense just continues to bottle up that ground game. And look, I mean, the deficit right now for this offense is so big that it might not matter. But you're still in the 3rd quarter. They're probably going to have to try things through the air, Charles.
I agree with you totally. That's what they'll have to do. They do need to run it occasionally to take a few hits off the quarterback, because right now, you just know those pass rushers are fired up to get after it.
He's had trouble finding open receivers all game, CD, and that's because really there hasn't been many. This defense has been all over them.
Yeah, they're one of the better defenses in the league, and every time I talk to someone around the NFL, they all say the exact same thing. They're so fundamentally sound, it's hard to execute against them.
A very nice punt that time, but they get 11 back on the return.
And that will come the offense as they take over. So good starting field position for them here as they come up 1st and 10 at their 36-yard line. He'll rifle this one deep right side. That's going to be knocked away and incomplete.
Zone coverage there, and they were playing deep. That makes it obviously a little bit harder to run by guys. And that time, there was not much of a window to get the ball in there, and it winds up incomplete.
And a big loss here as he's taken down. The defense rising to the challenge and setting him back on the sack.
Well, many times when you talk about mobile quarterbacks, you get the sense that they feel like they can get out of any bad situation. They keep moving around and trying to emulate guys like the Scrambler or the Dodger. Instead, they keep losing yardage and digging themselves a hole that they can't get out of.
What's the deal, y'all?
So after that sack, Hurts and the Eagles, tough spot here. 3rd and long.
They'll look to throw here.
That ball nearly intercepted, but he could not hang on. Oh, pick there certainly would have been nice. Instead, at least it'll be 4th down.
They're indeed going for it as they look to throw. Looking here for Smith downfield. And it's knocked away and incomplete. A surprising move to go for it. Predictably, at least somewhat predictably, it doesn't pay off. And boy, possession here turns over with the football already being in the red zone. And Denver getting set to take the field.
See if they can put this drive in the end zone, Charles, because it's been a little bit of a rough go at times. They've had to punt the football a ton in this ball game because of stalled out drives.
So are you saying that you're kind of tired of seeing the punter run out there and do his thing during this game? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I mean, I'm okay with it. I have a feeling that this offense, they don't want to see the punter again.
And frankly, the punter doesn't want to run out there anymore himself. He'd love to see his offense put together a drive and give his leg a rest.
And the Broncos are looking at 1st and goal as he's tackled all the way down at the 2-yard line.
Complete to Marvin Mims. 1st and goal at the 2-yard line.
Williams is going backwards as he'll be tackled back at the 4-yard line.
That's going to go as a loss of 2, and it'll be 2nd down.
A loss of 2 brings up 2nd and goal at the 4-yard line.
And they'll let the fullback try and take him home. And he will push his way forward down to about the 3-yard line. The 2nd down play, not much better than the first, just a gain of 1 there. This Eagle defense, they won't give in without a fight. This is 3rd and goal.
Williams.
And this has been a familiar sight all afternoon as they stop him behind the line. That'll back him up 2 yards and also bring up 4th.
On for the field goal. A 22-yard attempt.
The kick by Pinheiro is good. But now there is a penalty marker on the field, so let's see what this is about.
What's the deal, y'all?
And they'll accept that penalty.
So now then the penalty's got him set up with a 1st and goal. They'll run it with Williams. And he will take it in for a Bronco touchdown.
Javonte Williams, his 8th rushing touchdown on the year. And the Broncos are able to claw one back. But just power football there down near the goal line. Give it to him. He's able to push his way across.
Yeah, they went heavy there. Sometimes you have those big offensive linemen come in, have to report like they're eligible. But all they're doing is getting a good stance, blocking, and getting their runner across the goal line.
Piñeiro's extra point up and good.
And that'll cut the lead down a bit to 28.
Kickoff unit out there to kick this one away. And it'll come out to the 25 as he will not attempt to return. And this should be the final play before the quarter ends. Off the play fake. Here's Hurts. That one complete down the field to Smith. And he'll have it past midfield almost to the 40 before being taken down. So both teams trade touchdowns, and the third as we're through 3 quarters of play. You are watching the NFL on EA Sports. Welcome back now to Denver. A lot of folks starting to make their way to the parking lot. Their guys trail big here to begin quarter number 4. Now a give, right side, Swift. And they'll get him down after a pickup of 8, 2nd and 2. Well, they'll take that every time with a lead. First down, 4th quarter, getting 8 yards. You love that.
They will take it, and you have to ask the defensive guys, why did you give it? I mean, you know the situation. You're down, have to stop them, have to get the football back. But 8 yards on first down puts them back on their heels.
A very solid gain of 27. Still throwing the football here, even with the big lead.
Yeah, I know you and I came up in a different era, and we think about sportsmanship and all that. Other people think about fantasy points and getting their numbers. That's all they care about right now.
So 3 plays, already 1st and goal, and they are wasting little time. Throwing is Hurts. And Goddard's got it. Touchdown, Eagles. 8 yards on the touchdown pass. And the Eagles add on to their lead, and it's looking like that win streak is going to extend another week. Well, when coaches come into a game preaching total team effort, CD, I think this is the type of ball game that they're dreaming of. It was pretty apparent early on that they were clicking in all 3 phases. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, sometimes in the NFL you end up with matchups like we've been watching here. And when you go back through the early drives, you can just see that one squad was on a different level in this game. Safe to say, we have been disappointed in watching their execution throughout this contest.
Now after the touchdown, here's Elliott on to kick it away. And no thought to bring this one out. He'll just go down to a knee, and they'll take over at the 25. Here's the Denver offense now as they get set to take over here. Well, I think that the folks here had hoped that maybe this home atmosphere would carry their guys to a surprise victory, but it does not appear that that's going to be the case. There's too much to handle on the other side in this one.
And he's going to get a good gain of 9 here up to the 34.
I know sometimes we can get fooled when we watch him make catches, as we just saw him do there, because he really looks like a wide receiver the way he goes about his business.
Yeah, 230, 240 range.
Yeah, not super huge. Maybe not counted on to be that inline point-of-attack blocker that we used to have in the good old days. But you can flex him out. You can run wide receiver routes with him. You can make him a primary target, and that's how he'll shred a defense.
On 3rd and short, they'll try and pick it up through the air.
Pass taken in by his big tight end.
They only get 2 there, but on 3rd and 1, that's all they needed to keep the drive alive.
Broncos, first down. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line.
They'll stick with the passing game as he looks to throw.
A quick throw there is incomplete.
At this point in the game, they've got to continue to try anything they can. They're still working at it, even though this one feels like a lost cause.
Back to throw again. And he's got his man in stride, complete. 9 yards, and that leaves him just short, so it'll be third and less than a yard.
Fired that one in there, able to make connection on a nice in route.
With those faster passes when they're going that fast, any hesitation as a quarterback that the deflection, if you miss, might be bigger and lead to an interception?
Yeah, and the deflection.
Eagle pressure, too much this time. Down he goes. Nakobe Dean able to get in there for his second sack of the afternoon.
But one thing I do know, these guys on defense, they don't want this game to end. They're winning by multiple touchdowns. They've shut down the opposing quarterback in a big way, and they're still picking up sacks as we approach the end of this one.
The Broncos send out their punter now as he's on to kick it away. He'll send this one into the mile-high air, and it's a good one. Taking it about the 16. A very good return that time. 18 yards. And they will take over 1st and 10. The Eagles just about set to go to work on offense. And they just continue to roll right along, really. This has the looks of yet another victory as they hope to polish it off here in quarter number 4. On the ground, it's Swift to start the drive. Now he's free at the 35. He may go. And he's all the way down to the 6-yard line. 72 yards rushing for him now on just his first 3 carries. I guess that's what happens when you give the current NFL rushing leader that much room.
And when you do, all you're doing is solidifying his standing at the top of the leaderboard. He's going to continue to get more and more yards. Good luck trying to chase him down.
So it's Eagle football here as we get you reset. They've got it 1st and goal in a game that appears to have already been decided. Here's Swift. And that'll hurt the average a bit as this time they're able to get him behind the line. That's going to go as a loss of 1 on 1st down. It's 2nd and goal, back to the 8-yard line now. Once again, it's Swift fighting him off. 7 big yards on the carry there to get him within range of the goal line with 3rd down upcoming. Swift. And he is going to lose yardage here. 4th down now after a loss of 2.
That's a really alert defense there because they saw the heavy look come in from the offense, countered it with extra linebackers who brought a little bit of speed and heft, and able to really make a big-time play for their defense.
Well, ultimately not really sure that they're going to need those 3 points, but they'll take the 3 and they pad that lead.
Yeah, this one's already wrapped up, but you and I both know if you're an offensive coordinator, you never let up on the gas unless the head coach tells you to do so. And maybe you've actually clicked him off in your headset so you can keep calling plays and trying to add to this lead.
And this will not be returned. It's a touchback, and they'll begin at the 25. Denver's offense ready to go again. Facing a big 4th quarter deficit here, things not looking good. You know, this offense, though, they've been in the top half of the NFL so far this season, but in this one, well, they're deep.
And now off to the races down the right side. A huge play there for Denver. 54 yards.
And the offense is saying to itself right now, only they were all this easy because he was wide open. And once he made the catch, plenty of room to work his way downfield. That was a breakdown on the defensive side of the ball, one that they want to fix immediately.
And he's going to go down. Back at the 27-yard line, he's sacked. He couldn't get rid of it. He takes a sack for a loss of 6 to bring up 2nd down.
Well, this was a blowout supported by both sides of the ball today, Charles. It would be easy to look at the offense and say, man, they were clicking, and they were, but don't forget about the effort by this defense as well.
Yeah, they weren't going to let up just because the lead was saved. They wanted to play as big a part in this game as their offense did in making this blowout. They needed to be noticed as well, and they played accordingly.
So for Philadelphia, the train just keeps rolling. 9-0 now to start this campaign. And they will head back home next week. Meanwhile, for the Broncos, the difficult season continues as they drop to 1-8. And they will try to get back in the swing of things next week on the road. I'm Brandon Gaudin. Certainly have to thank Charles Davis, my broadcast partner, and our entire crew. We'll catch you next time right here. It's the NFL on EA Sports.
Why would I hold a man for ransom when my soul like Richard Branson? Since the basement making anthems